If your blood sugar has been creeping up, or your A1C keeps coming back higher than you hoped, the last thing you need is another vague lecture about eating better. Because here is the hidden truth most older adults are never told. Some foods can start helping your blood sugar the very same day you eat them, while other foods that look harmless on the plate can send it soaring within minutes. A bowl of sweetened oatmeal, a glass of orange juice, a few crackers, even that light breakfast toast can raise blood sugar faster than many seniors realize. And when that happens, day after day, it does not just affect a number. It can affect your energy, your sleep, your mood, your circulation, your memory, your kidneys, even your ability to stay steady on your feet. I'm Dr. Thomas Reynolds, and if you're over 60, especially over 70, this conversation matters deeply, because high blood sugar in later life is not only about diabetes. It is about protecting your independence. It is about keeping your eyes clear, your nerves calmer, your thinking sharper, your healing stronger, and your body more reliable. Today I'm going to share the best foods to eat to lower blood sugar fast, not in a miracle cure way, not in a gimmicky internet way, but in a real, medically grounded, practical way that older adults can actually use. And stay with me, because the most powerful foods are not always the ones people expect. In fact, one of the best choices is often missing from the average senior breakfast completely. I'm also going to show you how to use these foods, when to eat them, what mistakes to avoid, and why the order you eat them in may matter almost as much as the foods themselves. If you're watching today, tell me your age or where you're listening from in the comments. I always love seeing this community come together because so many people are quietly dealing with the same concerns. Fatigue after meals, rising A1C, morning sugar spikes, fear after blood test results, and the very real question of how to stay healthy without feeling deprived. Now, before I give you the list, let me make one very important point. When I say lower blood sugar fast, I do not mean a magical overnight cure. I mean foods that may help blunt the sugar spike, slow the rise of glucose after a meal, improve steadiness through the day, and support better numbers sooner than a high-starch, high-sugar meal would. And if you take insulin or blood sugar lowering medication, especially if you have a history of low blood sugar, you should always work with your doctor on medication adjustments. Food is powerful, but it needs to fit your full health picture. Now let's get into it. Number 7 is leafy greens and non-starchy vegetables. This is where many people roll their eyes and think, I know, eat your vegetables. But most people still do not understand why these foods can help so much. Spinach, kale, romaine, arugula, broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, green beans, cabbage, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, peppers. These foods are low in sugar and starch, but rich in fiber, water, minerals, and plant compounds that help slow digestion and reduce the blood sugar load of a meal. Think of fiber like a speed bump for sugar. When food moves through the gut too fast, glucose enters the bloodstream like traffic flooding onto a highway all at once. Fiber helps slow that release, not stop it, slow it. And for older adults, that matters. Because after 60, the body often becomes more resistant to insulin, which means sugar has a harder time getting out of the bloodstream and into the cells where it belongs. These vegetables also help with fullness. That matters more than people think. If you feel satisfied sooner, you are less likely to keep chasing bread, crackers, desserts, or late night snacks that quietly keep blood sugar elevated. So how do you use them? Start meals with them. That is one of the simplest and smartest things you can do. A salad before dinner, steamed broccoli with lunch, sautéed spinach with eggs in the morning, vegetable soup before the main meal. Many older adults notice that when they lead with vegetables, the rest of the meal hits the body more gently. The common mistake is drowning them in sugary dressings, breading them, or pairing them with a mountain of potatoes, rice, or white bread, and then assuming the vegetables cancel it out. They help, but they do not erase everything else on the plate. And that brings us to a food that surprises many people. Number 6 is eggs. Eggs were unfairly pushed aside for years by people who feared them more than they feared sugar. But for many older adults, eggs can be one of the most useful foods for blood sugar stability. Why? Because they are rich in protein and contain very little carbohydrate. That means they do not create a major sugar surge on their own. Protein works a bit like a slower burning fuel. It tends to digest more gradually than refined carbs, which can help steady appetite and reduce the sharp up and down swing that leaves people shaky, sleepy, or hungry again soon after eating. That is especially helpful in the morning when many seniors eat cereal, toast, muffins, pancakes, or juice, and then wonder why their glucose is high by 10 a.m. If your first meal of the day is mostly starch and sugar, your body starts the day in a sprint. If your first meal includes protein, fiber, and healthy fat, your body starts in a calmer rhythm. Practical ideas? 2 eggs with spinach, eggs and sliced avocado, a vegetable omelet, hard-boiled eggs with a few cucumber slices and some berries on the side. Simple, affordable, effective. The common mistake is pairing eggs with hash browns, white toast, jam, pancakes, or sweet coffee drinks, and then blaming the eggs for a blood sugar problem the eggs did not cause. Now let's move to something creamy, easy, and often overlooked. Number 5 is plain Greek yogurt, or unsweetened high-protein yogurt. This can be a powerful tool when chosen carefully. Not the dessert-like yogurt loaded with fruit syrup and added sugar. I'm talking about plain, unsweetened yogurt with a strong protein content. Greek yogurt in particular tends to be higher in protein, which may help support satiety and reduce the rapid glucose rise you would get from sweet breakfast foods or snack foods. Why does this matter after 70? Because many older adults need more protein than they think, not less. Muscle mass tends to decline with age, and muscle is one of the major places where glucose gets used. You can think of muscle as a storage and usage site for sugar. When muscle decreases, the body often handles glucose less efficiently. So a food that supports protein intake without a heavy sugar load can be very helpful. Add cinnamon if you like. Add chia seeds. Add a small portion of berries. That creates a much steadier option than flavored yogurt, granola, honey, or fruit on the bottom varieties that look healthy but behave more like dessert. The mistake here is assuming all yogurt is equal. It is not. Turn the container around. Look for added sugar. Some yogurts, marketed as health foods, carry enough sugar to cancel much of the benefit. And speaking of seeds, this next group deserves more attention than it gets. Number 4 is nuts and seeds, especially almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. These foods work quietly but powerfully. They bring fiber, healthy fat, and in some cases, a bit of protein to the table. That combination can slow the movement of sugar into the bloodstream and help you feel satisfied longer. Think of them as pace setters. They help calm the meal down. Chia seeds are especially interesting because they absorb water and form a gel-like texture. In the digestive system, that may help slow carbohydrate absorption. Flax seeds offer fiber as well, and walnuts and almonds make excellent blood sugar friendlier snacks compared with crackers, pretzels, cookies, or sweet granola bars. For older adults, these foods may also help reduce the constant grazing that pushes sugar up all day. When a snack actually satisfies you, you stop eating like your body is running on panic. Use them practically. A spoonful of chia stirred into plain yogurt. A small handful of almonds with lunch. Ground flaxseed added to cottage cheese or oatmeal. Walnuts on a salad. Just be mindful of portion size because nuts are healthy but calorie dense. You do not need a giant bowl. A small amount goes a long way. The mistake is turning them into sugar bombs, candied nuts, sweet trail mixes, honey roasted varieties, or store-bought healthy bars filled with syrup. Now we get to one of the most underrated blood sugar foods of all. Number 3 is beans, lentils, and chickpeas. People often hear the word carbohydrate and assume all carbs behave the same. They do not. Beans and lentils contain carbohydrate, yes, but they also bring substantial fiber, plant protein, and a slower digestive profile than white bread, white rice, or sugary cereal. In plain English, they tend to burn slower. That matters because one of the best ways to improve blood sugar is not always eliminating every carb. Sometimes it is choosing a slower, steadier carb. A carb that does not crash into the bloodstream like a wave. A carb that arrives in a more measured way. Beans and lentils may help support more stable glucose levels, better fullness, and better meal quality overall. They can also be useful for older adults who do not want to rely on meat at every meal, or who need affordable options that are easy to keep in the pantry. Try lentil soup. Add chickpeas to a salad. Use black beans alongside grilled chicken and vegetables. Add a modest portion of beans to lunch instead of relying on white bread. Notice I said modest portion. Portion still matters, but the quality of the carbohydrate matters too. The common mistake is eating beans inside a huge burrito with white flour tortillas, rice, chips, and sweet sauce, then concluding that beans do not help blood sugar. The beans are not the problem there. The surrounding meal often is. Now let's talk about fruit, because this is where fear and confusion often take over. Number 2 is berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. These are often among the best fruit choices for people trying to support healthier blood sugar. They offer fiber, antioxidants, and generally a lower sugar load than fruit juice, dried fruit, or many tropical fruits eaten in large amounts. I want to be careful here. Fruit is not the enemy, but form matters. Whole fruit is very different from juice. When you drink juice, the fiber protection is largely gone, and the sugar reaches the bloodstream quickly. It is like tearing down the fence and letting everything rush through at once. Berries, on the other hand, come in a smaller package with more balance. They can satisfy that desire for sweetness without the dramatic spike that often follows pastries, candy, or processed desserts. For many older adults, berries can be a wonderful bridge food. They make healthier eating feel pleasant instead of punishing. A practical strategy is to pair berries with protein or fat. Berries with plain Greek yogurt, berries with cottage cheese, berries with a few walnuts. That combination often works better than eating fruit alone on an empty stomach if you are highly sensitive to glucose spikes. And now we come to number 1, the food category that many older adults avoid, underestimate, or simply do not eat often enough. Number 1 is fish, rich in protein and healthy fat, especially salmon, sardines, trout, and mackerel. Here is why this matters so much. A meal centered on protein and healthy fat, rather than refined starch, often leads to a much gentler blood sugar response. Fish does not dump glucose into the bloodstream. Instead, it helps build a meal that is more stable, more satisfying, and often far kinder to the body's insulin response than the typical sandwich, pasta, or cereal-based meal. For older adults, this does more than help sugar. It may help support heart health, inflammation control, brain function, and muscle preservation. And that is important because blood sugar is not living in isolation. It is connected to the whole body. High blood sugar affects blood vessels. Blood vessels affect the heart, kidneys, brain, nerves, and eyes. So when a food helps support a steadier metabolic environment, the effects may reach far beyond one lab number. Try salmon with roasted vegetables, sardines on a crisp salad, tuna mixed simply, without sugary sauces, served with sliced cucumbers or beans. A piece of baked trout with broccoli and olive oil. Notice what is happening here. The plate becomes built around strength, not around starch. And here is the part many people miss. Sometimes the best food for lowering blood sugar fast is not the one that contains a magic ingredient. It is the one that replaces the food that was spiking you. That is the secret. If this is helping you rethink your meals in a clearer way, subscribe and stay with me, because these small shifts can make a real difference over time. Now let me give you one final strategy that ties everything together. If you want these foods to work better, do not just ask, "What should I eat?" Ask, "What should I eat first?" In many older adults, starting with vegetables, protein, or foods rich in fiber before eating starch may help soften the sugar rise that follows. So instead of beginning with bread, crackers, rice, or dessert, begin with salad, eggs, yogurt, beans, fish, or vegetables. The order can change the impact. And please remember this: if your blood sugar is running very high, if you are experiencing excessive thirst, frequent urination, blurry vision, confusion, vomiting, weakness, or unintentional weight loss, do not try to solve that with internet advice alone. Work with your physician. Food can play an important role, but serious symptoms deserve medical care. So let's bring this home. The best foods to eat to lower blood sugar fast are not miracle foods. They are smart foods. Foods that slow the rush. Foods that steady the system. Foods that support your body instead of overwhelming it. Leafy greens, eggs, plain Greek yogurt, nuts and seeds, beans and lentils, berries, fish rich in protein and healthy fat. These foods may help support better blood sugar control, especially when used consistently, paired wisely, and chosen in place of the refined, sugary, starchy foods that so often keep seniors stuck. And that is the real message today. You are not powerless, even after 60, even after 70, even if your numbers have been frustrating. Your next meal still matters. Your next grocery trip still matters. Your next breakfast still matters. Small, steady choices can help protect your energy, your mobility, your clarity, and your confidence. If you found this helpful, leave a comment and tell me which of these foods you already eat or which one you're going to add first. Subscribe if you want more practical guidance for healthy aging, blood sugar, heart health, and staying independent as the years go on. I'm Dr. Thomas Reynolds, and I'll see you in the next video.